I try hard to mend the pieces of my broken heart.
I love the music, Ethan. Nice job on that. It's funny, Ethan, the title underneath you says Joel Pilger. Is this a fill-in?
I guess I'm the substitute, yeah.
I find that the Zoom, I don't know if you guys, how many Zoom calls you've been on, but the Zoom must have rolled out that background imagery thing. So the people are rolling that out today. More beach zones, everything else. There he is, the actual Joel Pilger. No more
Hey,
substitute.
what's happening? How's everybody? I'm just getting set up and trying to get good internet here today, so bear with me.
No worries. We were just listening to "I Will Survive" by Gloria Gaynor. So you're persevering as she puts right out there in that song, Joel.
Nice. All right. Well, Tim, are you and Marcel kicking this thing off for us today?
Yeah, that's great. Hey, Marcel. I think every day we do this, you kind of wonder when the internet's going to crash on each one of us. So I guess it's my day to keep things going and you guys to have you're part of it. Welcome to today's daily briefing, live stream from RevThink. It's so good to have you all here. It's part of this ongoing series we're doing. I hope you're all doing well. The issues around us seem to be progressing in one way or another. I honestly haven't heard the news in the last 48 hours, but I'm sure some governor somewhere has tried to outdo the previous governor one way or another. So that news out there that's kind of wrapping us all up together politically seems to be having an impact on people's personal lives. And I hope that you have a moment to just release all that, go out, find out your own priorities and get your own understandings out there of what's going on in your own community. Marcel, welcome.
Asking you, how was your wedding? How was the wedding?
Oh, you guys, that is, the wedding was awesome. Look, I've been talking about it for days now, and I'm just so glad it's behind us in some way because these two kids had the opportunity now to kind of make their own choices and not be held up and wrapped up in all the nonsense that's going on around here. But it was sweet. We had it on our back porch. We had family members that wanted to come. We had our whole yard open. So people came and they kind of kept their distance, but they wanted to witness it. So we loved opening it up and making it available. But Joel, like an hour before the wedding, it was hailing on us. So like we had to pull in the flowers underneath the awnings and kind of let the hail storm pass. And then we pushed the flowers out. I kid you not, they played the music. And the minute they started playing the Canon in D, it felt like the clouds opened up and we had bright, warm sunlight. For Ethan shaking his head, he was there. It was bright, warm sunlight, just kind of filling in the space. The kids' faces started glowing and we knew like we were in God's grace. So beautiful day, wonderful opportunity. And thanks for all the wishes and well wishes for my kids. I appreciate you going through this with me. It's what I've been dealing with. So I appreciate all your
that's awesome.
thoughts.
Well, Marcel, you're here with us finally. Say hello, mister. How are things in your world?
Yeah, hello everyone. It's been good. I mean, I'm like Tim. I'm not following any news right now. I'm trying to be positive, and that actually changed my mood. So it's freaking amazing.
Well, Tim, you and I have been on how many calls in the last 2 days talking about visibility and looking into the future and cash flow and all this stuff. It feels like I've lost count. How about you?
Yeah, well, honestly, I feel, and I open apologies to Zach and Colin for the last couple that I've just run over, and we didn't get a chance to meet with them. So we'll schedule their time. But yeah, to your point, Marcel, I haven't been following the news, but what I have been doing is talking to business owners, and I'm becoming very optimistic. Most of the people we're now talking to have a sense of a foundation they can work from. There's still some things moving back and forth, especially in live events. I guess this is obvious, but it felt like, we can basically just put pause on things and then start them back up again when, 4 weeks, 6 weeks later. But what has happened in live events is there's a finite amount of arenas. So when the sporting events come in and they want to make up for lost games, and the concerts want to come in, and then the other kind of events come in, all of a sudden those venues aren't available. So people that are in live events are being shifted even further into the future because some of those concerts are being canceled and pushed on. When an artist releases an album, they can't do a concert a year later for an album they just released. So it's really tricky. There's a lot of moving parts out there affecting our industry. But the upswing for some clients are really huge.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Like, I keep thinking about people that work with, live events, because this is something that I love, and I'm like, when are we gonna go back to see live shows and concerts and all that? That's the most like critical thing, like understanding like our world of like animation and doing commercials and all of that stuff. That's easier because people need to keep advertising, but for live events, I don't even know, a different input, because it's like, that is actually like, in the future, we don't even know when that thing is going to come back. I feel like this is my prediction, Tim. I feel like we're all going to get like an app from the government that we need to test, before we go into anything. And then you need to show your phone. Hey, test like half hour before you come in. Then you breathe or whatever. So you just, they allow you to go in, and watch the concert or the event.
I wouldn't be surprised. Actually, maybe you start working on that. We might be able to get ahead of the curve.
You know what I mean? So it'll be like, hey, you want to come in? Sure, do a test. Wait half an hour, have a beer, and then you can come in.
I also imagine like fashion being progressing, of like having something covering your face might become a new kind of fashion way, and we'll be smarter about what that mask looks like.
Like instead of a Google Lens, it would be like a Google mask, something like that.
Yeah, right.
Cool, but I'll kick to Joe. He has some awesome stuff to talk about today.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. I'm scanning the list of folks that are here. So I'm going to do a few shout outs, right? So I'm thinking, hi, Andre from First Fight. I'm seeing Ben Jones here from Denver representing. Brent from LA, Dallas, wherever in the world you are from De Facto. David coming in from New York, Footy, DC. I mean, there's just an amazing array of people here. And I also have to give a quick shout out to Mark, who is in Spain. We were talking with him earlier today, where they're in like a super hard lockdown. But I saw Fio from Fox and Company. So Fio, this is a major shout out to you, because I think it's like 5 a.m. or something in New Zealand. So for those of you that carve out time during the day for this daily briefing, we say thank you. But for someone like Fio, you deserve a medal.
Yeah.
But here's
a coffee for you, Fio.
Yeah. So Fio, give us 8:30 a.m. Okay. Well, that's not too bad. I think the question that we've heard some people asking, and I'll ask this to you, Marcel and Tim, to kick things off, is, am I crazy? I know I need to sell. Like, obviously my creative firm, we need projects, we need work, and I've got to fill up my pipeline. But is it safe to sell yet? Because if I go out and start offering and trying to sell, I look like a terrible person, because we're in this crisis. How dare I do something like that? So what do I do? Because everyone here is wondering that.
Yeah. Tim, you go, or?
No, you go ahead, Marcel.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joe. It's a tricky time to do like reach outs, I think when we started this whole daily thing, I thought about something that it's time to understand the problem, because the same worries that we have, clients are having too. It's not just us trying to understand what this is what's gonna happen and what this is gonna be. So clients are trying to understand that too. So to me, I think my sales focus would be in existing clients, things that people that you already know, and I feel like, I'll leave that to you, because you might have different strategies in terms of like how to reach out and in the wording that you're going to use. You're not going to reach out to people without asking how they're doing. Just say, hey, where's my project? I need to pay bills. So it's time to connect with people on a human level. first and really mean it, so I wanted my clients to survive before them, getting any projects from them, but there is a sense of responsibility too. I was telling Tim this thing that about there's a freelancer that I worked with all the time. He's on and off, with us. And then he texted me. He's like, "Hey man, how are you?" That question, he's like, "How are you and your family?" That question to me went far and beyond. It was like, oh my God, this guy, oh my God, I forgot about him. And I'm like, my reaction was, it sparked that sense of responsibility in me. And I'm like, I need to keep feeding him with projects, So my response was like, "Hey man, I'm doing well. How are you?" And then the chat goes on. And then later it was me like, okay, I need to, as soon as we get a project, I'm going to involve him on the project as well, so it doesn't stop. So there's a sense of responsibility with your close connections, and I have a feeling that clients will feel the same. I don't know what you guys think.
Well said. I think me too. I think it is very an odd feeling, like you don't want to look desperate, but clearly the world is changing and there's things you need to know. At RevThink, we have this perspective that marketing is the job of moving a client from unaware to aware. So that initial introduction and all that work really is an outreach marketing effort. And sales, the work is moving a client from interest to intent. So I think that first part, marketing, is probably where we feel most awkward in the outreach, because you've never heard of me before. This is a total cold outreach, but do you have anything? Feels a little bit more desperate right now. But what you're saying, Marcel, about as existing clients or past clients, and honestly, ongoing clients, the clients you're currently working with clearly have an issue to solve. What else are they doing, and can you keep them closely held and keep projects moving from those existing workload you have? All of that feels very capable, and people are willing to have those conversations because they're trying to figure out the resources available for their projects as well. And if you think about that entrepreneurial formula of needs plus resources is the solution, right now you have the opportunity to discover needs and reaching out to clients, finding out what problems they have, and discover resources or know your resources well, and start leveraging that into propositions. That's the real cycle we want to get into. And a lot of that takes strategy. We want to be very strategic on how to put those pieces together.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I want to hear what Joe has to say as far as like reaching out as well, and also like about new clients. Is this a good time to reach out to new people?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in short, I wouldn't say it's a good time, but I would say this, that a few of the owners that Tim, you and I were speaking with earlier today, they were getting wise, and they were saying, you know what, we have never really had our website fine-tuned. Our positioning is kind of all over the place. Our expertise is really unclear. Now we have some time and some brain space. So now's the time. Let's get these things in order so that we can actually start marketing. And marketing is just simply creating curiosity that leads people into conversations. So this is, like you said, Tim, earlier, this is a good time if you have no inbound. I'm not a big fan of inbound sales, but if you have no inbound, then this is a good time to say, okay, let's get these ducks in a row. Let's start communicating. Let's start having some sort of regular presence. And it can be any number of things, right? Because you could be doing your own podcast or your own live stream like we're doing here. You could also get out and publish articles. You could do a podcast, whatever those things are. But this is a good time to start thinking about that, just in creating more and more awareness of you being someone who is an expert and someone who's able to solve problems. But I would agree with you, Marcel, in terms of if I was going to do any true sales, I would immediately go to all of my clients that I consider friends and reach out with that question, how are you doing? And make sure that it's not a conversation about, hey, do you have any projects coming up? Just how are you and what's going on, and offering that expertise to whatever the new problem might be. Because their problem might simply be, I don't know how to work from home. My kids are driving me crazy. I mean, but you could help them with that. You've got ideas, you've got opportunities to give them valuable advice or help or what have you. Who was it? Someone was telling me just the other day that this one vendor of his calls him every couple of weeks and just asks them this question: dude, what can I do to make your day better? How can I make your day better today? And I thought that was such a, I don't know, pleasant way to just start a conversation called, what's going on with you? And is there anything I can do to help? I think that's always just a good place to start with a human connection.
So Joel, let me ask you a kind of a deeper question, because I think this is a reality that some clients are in too. Their resources aren't that deep. Their client base might not already be so deep, and they can rely on them, or the type of work they're in has dried up. The live action groups that we're talking about, the live event groups that we're talking about. What do you do when you don't know who to call? You don't have, what you're saying, close relationships. Are you supposed to just give up, or is there a kind of a message you could send out that would be reasonable?
Well, I would say this. Part of what we're describing is, we've used this phrase, listening tour. And that, I think that's someplace that I would start. And that is, when you reach out to people, you might also put forth this idea of, hey, I know things are crazy right now. I'm opening myself up and my business to whatever's coming. I would love to hear from you, what's going on in your community and in your world, because you're going to hear people say things like, well, my colleague, or this other company that we work with, or this vendor. And as you hear about those people, that's like that one degree of separation called, would you mind introducing me to that person? Because I think I could help them. So that's one place I would start. It's almost like a referral.
I love that message of, can you introduce me? That's not bad either. I also kind of imagine that outreach happening where someone's sitting in their dining room with their kids doing homework next to them. That's the working environment these clients are in right now. And their life is a little probably scattered. And you want to be sensitive to that. But the thought of going person to person, like you're not making your way through the corporate protocol in a way. There's a person that doesn't have a receptionist in front of them, doesn't have an office door to walk into. They don't have a busy schedule and conference rooms to jump in and out of on a daily basis. They're sitting in one place doing that work. And if they're like all of us, they have, like right now, I have 7 windows open, right? They have multiple windows opening and keep on going with separate conversations. So the engagements that you do know to ask for introductions. How about you, Marcel? Do you have an idea of what if the resources that and the close relationships aren't there to depend on? And
I have a few ideas here. As far as what the actual world is, what's happening in the world now. There's a lot of tension, and everyone is worried and everything. And I always think of a lighter message, something that makes exactly what Joe was saying, the day better. What can you say to someone as a starting, at the top of your email, that you make someone's life, you can put a smile on their face or something like that, or an introduction or something that it's not cheesy or anything. It's just something we're, the sense of coping, and also we're here, but this is better, whatever, something that it changes a little bit the mood, that it doesn't sound very salesy, but you're just doing what you have to do. At the end of the day, Tim, to me, it's we're all in this thing together because we're trying to feed our families,
Yeah.
We're trying to just keep it going. I don't think there's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing wrong about reaching out. It's probably not the best time. People are not going to read your email, because I feel like the attention span got a little shorter too. Even because don't ever use the word COVID-19 on your email, because I got so many of those emails. It's I already know, when you get the email COVID-19, you're okay, are they open or closed, or they can work remotely? So those are the 3 things that I'm looking at the email. But just something else, I think as a creative, business owner, you have to think about ways that you're going to do your reach out, but also connect with someone on a human level. And I've been talking to clients too. I can give you guys a quick example to not expand this on too much. I reached out to one of my closest clients, And we were talking about dealing with the family. I have 2 kids here. They're running around, so it's like a lot of noise in the background. And he was saying the same thing. I sent him an email. He called me, and then we were on the phone for 40 minutes just talking.
Yeah.
Talking. And then at the end of the call, without me asking anything, he's like, "Man, I have a few projects coming up, and I'll make sure that I get you involved."
Yeah.
I didn't ask for anything. I didn't ask for the project, and I didn't want to talk about projects at the time. I just wanted to see how things were going. Are you handling your kids and, the craziness at home? But
Marcel, that's what I call I relate to that. I call the abundance economy, where there's plenty of work and there's plenty of opportunity out there. If you are engaged in a relationship, it kind of flows to you. So you put yourself out there first, and you'd be willing to have the conversations, do the work, solve the problems, and what flows back to you, or stuff will eventually flow back to you, and that's how you kind of keep some of it going. I do have some issues right now of how do I know for certain I can bank on those relationships? And I think those are the questions that our clients are asking us. It's well, yeah, I know I can get through the next 4 weeks with the projects in house. How do I find a project that I can get accounts receivable in right now? Joel, you, as part of your Jumpstart program, whatever, you walk people through what we call finding your genius. And I think that that genius-based positioning, or sticking to what you are good at in a way, sticking to that genius. Why don't you explain to me how finding your genius works when it comes to positioning yourself for sales?
Well, I'll just give you the operating definition that I use, because whenever I tell someone that you have a genius, you just have to discover it and identify it. They get a little nervous, whoa. But here's what I know to be true. When you look at yourself and you look at the different activities, the things that you do in running your business, there are certain things that you do that, 1, you love doing them. 2, they bring you energy rather than drain you. And 3, when you do those things, big results show up. And people say, wow, when you do that, it's amazing. And when you find those activities that have those 3 characteristics, I call that your genius. And it's really the basis for what your firm offers the world. And I know a lot of people say, well, it's not about me. I have a team. Yes, that's true. But at the same time, your clients, they all know that in a roundabout way, it actually is about you. You're the leader. You're the visionary. You have a genius that you're bringing to bear. And then from that flows your positioning, and then all of your marketing and all the messaging that you put out there. And even someone like Marcel, when he just reaches out to a client to say, hey, how are you doing? That person is excited to talk with him because they know Marcel is someone who is plugged into his genius. He's excited about what he gets to do every day for a living.
Hey, yeah. Joel, let me read this to you, because this came in through our chat. Just a shout out to Joel. If we didn't work with you before this happened, we probably would have had to shut down during this time. Strategy and repositioning was the key. And for us, the key to working past this time is to remember not to go too far away from any of that. If you do it the right way, I think your brand and your message should resonate more than ever right now. So they're kind of resonating the idea of finding your genius, and then being able to stay clear in that position statement to, as you said, know what you contribute to the world, allows other people to find you and use that as an anchor, isn't it? And that anchoring in the marketplace really is what is the magnetic attraction towards you, your business, and the services you're offering.
Well, I'm actually going to let Marcel answer it, because this chat kind of made me emotional.
Yeah, sweet.
No, it's amazing. I feel like, this once you have your positioning, spot on, and then your message is clear, I feel like I go back to I feel like we're using the same tools. And Tim, I love when we had a call a couple of months ago that you were saying about you use the same tools, you use the same things that you have, but you just shuffle them around. And I feel like it's the same thing. You have your positioning, you have your sales strategy, you have all of that. Now it's time to just play with them a little bit differently, Yeah. I feel like, it's funny because it's a situation. It's so awesome, even at the same time that it's awful that we're in this position, but it's so amazing because there's so much we can learn from it, like how it's the first time ever that we see the whole world going through the same thing, because it's not individual. Because if you think about crisis, you're thinking about just you, right? You're like, oh, my company's not doing well, my competitors are awesome. But no, it's everyone together in the same boat. So when it comes down to sales, and I feel like I don't see any like angle that can be, funky or anything. It's just a matter of like, okay, if you have that personal relationship, just connect to your client or send them a message. I called my client yesterday like a smart ass, on the email. I'm gonna say, hey man, you're a smart ass. I love you. How things are going? And then he's like, that makes him like already like up. It just brings the energy. I'm not saying, hey man, this is scary. How's it going? Of course it's scary. Don't say that to me. We all know.
Yeah. I want to get down to some practical advice here too for everyone, so that each of us can kind of just do like a speed round of some thoughts here. But Marcel, so I'll start with this, Marcel. From your point, that thought of like everybody's in the same position and kind of globally, this is something that's affecting everyone. My encouragement would be like, don't let that slow you down. Don't use that as an excuse to not do the work that's necessary. You are a business owner, and it is a responsibility you've given yourself to get out there and make something happen. So we know that there are some major shifts that are happening now in your lifestyle, and the time you have available to dedicate to this, and even the workloads that are coming in. But you also are capable, willing, and able to get into this business when you started it. Let's use that same energy to move past and not just sit back in a time thinking that this, I have a pass for now. I can just wait for the world to solve its problems. We don't want to be that way. How about you, Marcel? Give me a piece of practical advice that you'd give everyone.
Yeah, my advice is going back to the tools you already know. If you're listening to this live stream, if you don't have your positioning right, if you're not sure about it, I feel like this is now time to get that going, to rethink or to really strategize. But I'm with you, Tim. It's time to not let the panic take over. It's just like, okay, everything is on the same boat. Now that we're all coping, now it's time to just like, keep it going, keep reaching out, keep your team motivated, talk about good things, and just think about that. I think that would be my 2 cents. Joel.
All right, my go. Well, since we're here almost at the top of the hour again, I just say thanks for everyone for being here. I am going to share this preview of my setting up your sales pipeline module here in just a minute. So feel free to stick around and I'll walk you through that. We've been talking about sales today, and I want to help everybody as much as I can by giving you some really simple and practical takeaways on how to use a pipeline if you don't have one. Are there any other questions or comments? I was going to mention this one. I really like this. This is a good segue from Brent out there in LA at Five Stone. He said, I took a client's existing IP and made a funny social distancing spot for them. It wasn't created for cash or even for distribution, but simply to make someone chuckle, and it worked. And that's actually a really cool thing, right? Because that is you, Brent, saying, hey, here is my expertise, and I want to give you something. It's a gift, it's an idea, even maybe it's a strategy, and it gets that person thinking. And it's you taking the initiative, not waiting for permission, not waiting for a client in that pick me mode, but rather saying, hey, I'm here, I've got something for you, I want to share with you. I think you'll love this.
Yeah,
all right,
that's really
Tim,
great.
give us some announcements before we wrap up and I start sharing this module.
Yeah, sure. And I will let me give you one quick piece of advice, and then I'll jump to announcements too. My last advice in this process would be also to fail fast. If you're doing outreach to clients, please don't hold on to that too tightly. Any projects you currently have that seem to be on hold, let them go by the wayside and go find another project. If you have a client that you think you might be able to land, but it's not coming in, make sure you kind of fail fast, put that on hold for a while and go find something that will be active. We want you to kind of keep busy, keep things moving in your business, and not hold on to things too tightly. You don't have the luxury right now. So yeah, Joel, just I want everyone to know, yesterday I walked on the module through a cash flow sheet. I have made one available, a blank template available to everyone. Because it's in Google Sheets, I want to be pretty protective that I don't just globally share out a sheet and have the possibility of people putting data that others can read. So if you are interested in getting one of those templates, just direct message me in Slack. I'll make you a copy of it. That's your standalone copy, and you can begin to walk through that. And then if you have questions or thoughts, I also put a link in Slack, and we can post it here in the channel to reach out to me or Joel and do a 30-minute engagement or a briefing, and we can walk you through your cash flow or look at the cash flow you built out and give you any pointers that way too. These half-hour slots are available to everyone. We've kind of cleared our schedule with our clients and kind of reduced things down to half hour as much as possible for the next few weeks. So we have time available open for all of you all as separately from the clients we currently have. So feel free to take advantage of those in that way. Marcel, what do you have anything for us to wrap us up?
No, I was just going to say, keep doing a reach out, connect with your client on a human level, ask them how they're doing. Think about ideas that, like Brent was doing, I thought it was brilliant, doing something for them or making their day, a little bit better. And don't stop, don't stop, just keep going. And, I think that's the mentality here.
That's great. So thanks for joining us today. I'm going to hand it over to Joel. If you are interested in this, we are posting it on our podcast, so you can listen along separately than the video feed. We do have a replays channel in the 7 Ingredients Slack group that we've started, which is 7ingredients.slack.com. And you can go to the replays channel there. If you miss something and you want to listen to that, we usually try to post it within 24 hours of what we're doing here. And then, direct message us